Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thames Podcast here today. Today, we're here to talk about The Giggle, the third and final 16th anniversary specials. I'm joined with Beef and Elijah to help discuss this past week's episode. First of all, though, guys, it's been a while since you've been on. How's it been? Maybe Christmas last year? Or is that might be, you right?
It's certainly been a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not offended.
No, to be fair, there was no podcast for the first 9 months of the year, so you've really only been gone for 3 months. It only came back in September, so if you look at it that way, you've not been gone for too long. But yeah, we're to work the giggle. But how are we, guys? Are we all happy? Or Doctor Who adjacent? Are we all pretty good, pretty well?
Feeling very good. Very pleased with last night's episode. I feel like Doctor Who has a new fresh breath of air and is ready to continue for another 60 years.
Yeah, Beef. How are you?
Yeah.
Mate? How are you?
What within regards to last night's episode?
You can about that in general.
Generally I'm fine. My feelings about last night are actually probably going to be quite controversial and quite mixed.
No, I'm with you on this in certain senses. So I think we've got a good balance here because Elijah is I think I didn't check our chats. I actually don't know, but considering Elijah he's watched it 6 times, he's either despised it and really wants to like it, has watched it to try and like it, or he actually just kind of enjoys it.
Well, like I say, I'm at 4. The last one, I literally just finished the last watch a few minutes before we came on, just to make notes and make sure that I'm not entirely insane.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you definitely are insane, mate, but maybe not in potentially with your thoughts of these episodes. But all right, let's do general thoughts then. So Elijah, am I correct in thinking that you, on the whole, pretty much really enjoyed this one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Out of the 3 specials, this one felt more like a anniversary type story. Though I know Russell was trying to take these 3 specials in a different way, and anniversary specials doesn't necessarily need to mean multi-doctor stories. But even just little callbacks or references to other companions, I think really made it feel more like an anniversary special. Are we doing like a full? Do you just want a short?
Just quick general thoughts, and we'll go into more deeper things later on.
Other than that, really enjoyed it.
What about yourself, Beef?
Visually great, acting great, but to me it just felt like basically a build-up for spin-offs and muddled.
Okay.
For me, it's sort of, this is the middle of the 3, to be honest with you. And yeah, I don't know why I can't help but say I feel a little bit disappointed.
Ooh. Okay, I'm in the middle. I'm of you two actually, so I didn't really love it. I disagree with Elijah that this felt like the most 60th of the bunch. I think none of them felt like anniversary specials. And if you told me that they weren't anniversary, if you do, I wouldn't think they were. If I didn't know they were, I wouldn't think they were anniversary specials at all. And I get the whole point of doing it differently to just Power the Doctor, but I'll get into it towards the end of the episode. Why on reflection, I am a bit gutted. From a fan's perspective, but in terms of an episode, I think it's really good until the final act. I think there are some bits within that where the story gets a bit muddled within itself. I don't know if Beef agrees with me on that one, but there are certainly some really good horror elements here, better horror elements actually than Wild Blue Yonder, which that might be controversial to say, but generally that's my thoughts. I think some of the horror elements in here work a lot better than they do in that episode. I also think Neil Patrick Harris is the best thing about this episode for me. Just the performance is great. I mean, obviously a lot of people wouldn't have really known much about the Toymaker episode, let alone seen a lot of it, because it doesn't really exist. I know there's one episode on iPlayer, I think, or is it 2? It's 1, isn't it, that you can watch?
Episode 4.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it was a really good take on the character. I think he was zany, villainous, and brilliant, and that musical interlude in the middle, I think, is one of the funniest and most scary things I've ever seen, and I thought brilliant. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was like, is that the Spice Girls playing? Like when you're thinking, you hearing it from not within the telly, and you realize, oh no, that is actually coming from my speakers rather than someone outside blasting Spice Girls at 6 o'clock, so 7 o'clock on a Saturday evening. I was in Cardiff, so there's a high chance of that probability, but just didn't expect that to happen in Doctor Who. So yeah, I'm a bit mixed as well. So I don't know how you guys want to break this one down, because this one is a bit all over the place. It's not as linear as potentially the other two. So what
suggestion? Maybe we'll just start from the beginning and work our way.
Yeah.
The one thing I like about this is that it's very similar to the Star Beast, and that you just get straight into it. There isn't 5 minutes of long build up where you're just roaming around and the story doesn't kick in. This episode, straight away, you get a good pre-title sequence, the first good pre-title sequence of the specials. That actually helps the story that they're trying to tell within this hour block. I thought that was really good. Obviously, see John Logie Baird, a bit of historical knowledge for people that don't know about that. That was really good. And you get the beginnings of the villainous toy maker, and you kind of see what Neil Patrick Harris is going for. What did you always think of Neil Patrick Harris' performance, though? Because I've seen some mixed things, like the accent. I think it's all pretty, but
I loved the accent, but as Beef will probably say, very much Flula Borg-esque. I think he definitely is the right person to play the toy maker, especially coming from a magician background himself. He definitely, he can juggle, he can do the card tricks. He's got that down. Neil Patrick Harris, great choice. Not someone I would have originally thought. You know who would be great as the toy maker? But seeing him do it, amazing job.
I think it was one of those castings that you don't think of, but then when you hear it, you go, that's going to, at bare minimum, be interesting. It's not going to be a boring performance, no matter whether you think it's good or bad. There's going to be some character behind it and some gravitas. But Beef, what did you think?
Yes, no, I did. I liked the introduction of the toy maker, because I've drawn, as Elijah knows, a comparison to internet legend Flula Borg and the clippity cloppities and the horsings and running down Strata, and I like that. It's all a little bit cod German, and you get the idea that there's something not totally right about this guy, that he doesn't add up. So I like that there is an element of something being out of place, that it isn't a right thing. It pans into the John Logie Baird thing, which that's like a nice setup which gets paid off later. I mean, the idea straight away that the toy maker is, there's the racial call out and everything like that. I don't know whether that's just a thing that they've done, whether they've just gone for the stereotypical idea of a German thing. I mean, that's the thing. It's where Russell's trying to get away from tropes, or says he's trying to get away from tropes. It just felt like having a German guy making a racist comment and everything like that. Okay, it's product of the time and everything like that, but you are falling into down the line of having a trope in your opening as well. I mean, that's sort of like, okay, well, I'm willing to. Well, that's all right then. But there's that. But for the larger part, it's good.
I would agree with that. Let's talk about then kind of the plot. So basically, the giggle, the ba 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 ba, is turning people into absolute maniacs. It's turning them insane. They're all really angry. It's like Twitter brought to life. It's really interesting. This is what Doctor Who fandom would be if they were put in a dome and then to fight each other. This is what it would be like, and it's really interesting. I mean, I think we should kind of get straight into it with that Kate Stewart scene, which has caused some controversy. Obviously, Kate, basically, if you guys haven't seen it, spoilers by the way, which obviously is very clear. There's the armband that kind of protects them, and you take it off. Kate gives a demonstration to the Doctor, basically, and then Kate goes off on one and makes a particular comment, which obviously we all know people in the disability space. I actually really like the comment. As the same, I think it's really effective. I think there's a point behind it. I see why some people aren't happy with that comment, but I really like the comment. I think I'll put it like Russell said about the trans representation in Star Beast, you need to show the bad bits as well as the good bits. That's the exact point he's making. And Gemma Redgrave delivers it really well, and Ruth Madley delivers the retort really well. It doesn't linger on it, it just happens, it's gone. And also it's very clear that Kate is not in a state at that point. It's not really Kate that we're hearing, it's a otherworldly interference. So I actually think it works really well, but I don't know what you guys thought.
I think it also works very well. I think Russell was definitely trying to make a point, and especially, the doctors talking about, oh, you humans and humanity bringing out the worst in people. And I feel like that comment, though I'm not disabled myself, I think that comment is definitely something that happens a lot, is people just assume, oh, you're in a wheelchair, you can't stand up.
Oh, we saw it on Twitter. We saw it on Twitter with Madley moving her leg. Like, although he didn't preempt that, we might have done, but I don't think he obviously didn't. But like Twitter immediately, as soon as Ruth Madley was in Doctor Who, they went, she moved her legs. She can't be disabled and move her legs. That's not how they work.
Feel like it was put there in the sense of make people think like there may be people that just don't know that, you can still be in a wheelchair and still, have some functionability in your legs. And I feel it was a comment that fit well with the state of what's going on due to the giggle itself.
Yes, absolutely. If it's
I get the idea that everyone believes that their opinion is right, right or wrong. But obviously the bit with Kate Stewart is all about, I would guess, subconscious prejudices as well.
Yeah.
So it's a case of, is it everyone has subconscious prejudice and it's only our social conditioning or whatever that is masking that? Or so I am trying to figure out where that is, because the idea that everyone has this opinion and that they're right, okay, that's fine, but and that's no detractment from obviously the stuff that the point that you're making about Shirley and when Kate takes the band off. But is it a case of everyone has an opinion and everyone thinks they're right, or are you making comment about people's unconscious prejudice? That's what I'm trying to also clear up on this, because
good point.
She says, oh, well, you're an alien and you're telling me what you should think of to do. You've got red hair. What are you hiding? That's more to do with people's biases or, some biases, prejudices, profiling, not necessarily about opinions. I mean, there was the stuff, it's sort of, it takes you out a little bit of what's supposed to be happening on street level, to be honest with you, because that's the thing. The giggle is supposed to be a worldwide thing that's happening, and people are fighting and arguing on the street, and David Tennant's looking very serious in a helicopter, scowly face, flying over traffic that looking very organised apart from a few CG fires. It's that's why it's it got a little bit jumbled for me at that point. I feel it's good to address those points, and you can make your dig about political parties and everything like that. But I want it, just make it consistent, then saying, make that bias thing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I think you're right.
Make points, but make it clear and make it precise.
Yeah,
don't jumble it.
I agree with you that potentially it doesn't contradict the first scene we see with the bloke, but it is a different kind of thing to what we see with the first scene with the bloke. It went from, I think I'm right, I pay for the road, therefore I should use the road. I don't care if cars are using it, I think I should be using it, which kind of is like, oh, I think I'm right, therefore I'm going to do that thing, to, oh, actually, I don't like you because X, Y, Z.
Although you don't drive and you don't pay road tax, which does pay for the roads.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually think as well, one thing that was lacking in this was more street level stuff. Apparently the world's burning and we're literally on the unit set and we're in the past. We don't see much street level
It's
stuff.
easy to forget all this is happening
Thing.
on a global scale
Yeah.
because everything is like, and I think that's a little bit of where there's also for me a bit of a pacing issue, and why this is like so many like different stories that I tried to cram in to too short a time.
Beef, I'm going to go back to what we said a couple of weeks ago on Zoom. It might have been last week after Wobbly Yonder. I would have rather 2 episodes of this than Wobbly Yonder. I absolutely agree with you. I think even though this hour was jam packed, this could have been 2 hours easily. Easily.
I mean, running up to this bit that we've had, we've also skipped over, but I'm sure you'll get to it. It's like the introduction of Mel, and there's no fat on that, and it's done extremely well. But to make the framing of this big event, it needs more space.
Yes, absolutely. I think as well. It's just like let's talk about that then. So Unit Tower HQ, the new unit building, which of course has to have a bit of damage to it because the unit building can't just survive any episode of Doctor Who. They keep getting fucking money. Remember that theory that they thought Donna paid for the unit building that was going around this internet? Why on earth would she do that? Why would she do that? She can't remember what unit is. Why would she do that?
I was just assuming, that helicopter shot when the Doctor and Donna are going to unit. I was expecting like the Avengers music to start playing. Like that's what I thought.
Well, we did already have big Russo brother titles on the screen already up to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just we do have the whole classic bland white text, not in a bad way. It's just what the Russo brothers did. Bland white text with the city on it and the time on it. But yeah, I thought the unit base was actually quite good. If some people were saying that random alien in the corner is underdeveloped, I just think with the unit and understanding what unit is, that can just be accepted and you can move on from that and go.
Thing is, it's probably something that's going to be picked up later on down the line.
But even if it isn't, you can just accept that unit work with aliens and therefore an alien might want to stay and help.
Well, I think it's very much also a bit of a Russell motif as well, because if you remember back to like Eccleston's first series, you had on Satellite 5, you had the woman plugged into all the systems and everything like that. Yeah. And in this, you've got the Vlinks, which is plugged into all the systems, which is where I'm surprised that the Doctor's never come across a Vlinks, but I'm sure it's something that's going to be handled later. But it's like I would have expected the Doctor to have treated that character with mistrust, but
right.
Here we go. Obviously, we see our favourite unit people. Well, actually, just 2 of them. We only see Kate and we see Shirley, but we also have the return of Melanie Bush. And obviously, Bonnie is fantastic. And sorry to all you as 80s Doctor Who fans, I think it's actually the most depth she's ever had in an episode of Doctor Who. It said she only in it for 5 minutes. But I think she's brilliant. I like the fact that the Doctor has to do a double take. I think that's a really nice moment. And I like the fact that it's very different to what we had with Tegan and Ace. With her, there is no baggage towards the Doctor. There is no, I haven't seen you in so long. Actually, she blames herself for leaving. She doesn't blame the Doctor because she could have gone with the Doctor. Instead, she went with the Savile Blitz. And
there's no resentment. She's dealt with it, and she's she's basically just living her life.
And now she's making cash money.
Well, yeah.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean?
She's making that sweet coin.
Kate Stewart saves $1 on LinkedIn because she just picks all up her new employees at a support group in a church hall. Do you know what I mean?
Much.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was great. I thought Mel was great. I liked Mel and I like Mel and Donna's back and forth again. No resentment there, which was nice. I mean, it's not within Donna's character to be resentful anyway. She wasn't in Journey's End,
but the first ginger companion, that's false. Where's Turlo?
Strickson is livid right now. He's livid.
I would be.
Livid.
If I was the companion wearing very short shorts, I'd be furious right now.
I'd be furious.
Yeah. But what do we make as well of Donna figuring out the whole musical note thing? Because this is where I get confused again, right? And this is when I go back to basically in the Star Beast, they let go of all the knowledge and the regen and all the meta crisis stuff. But in these specials, Donna is written as like so much smarter than she was in series 4. I don't mind that in essence, but like she now knows science. She's now the fastest type. She now knows coding and
Well,
all
she
that. She
was
didn't.
a temp. She
Yeah,
knows
but
how to
temps don't know coding.
The musical thing, I'm willing actually to give a pass by, because I think, when we first meet her, she's when we first met her previously, she always looked at things in a slightly different way.
Yeah.
She picked up on the numbering system in what's it called, the episode with Jenny. She picked up on the numbering system of all the corridors and the way it was counting down. She looks at things from a slightly different angle that's unique to her, and that's how she probably figured out the thing with the musical scale. That's fine. I'm willing to give that a go. But yeah, obviously, after having let go of the sort of meta crisis energy, and sort of, I saw into the Doctor's mind, but now I've let it go. The coding stuff that comes later, that's a little bit jarring. It's a very weird plot convenience for me. Yeah.
But let's go back to the old toy maker stuff. We're going to go back to the past, back to good old Soho. And I like the fact as well, there's no build up to this. We just get straight into it. We go into the toy maker shop. There's no, the Doctor doesn't know. No, he knows straight away who this is. He knows exactly who this is.
Actually, can I just stop you for 1 second? Because
absolutely,
there's like little offhand comments that get thrown out in this. I like the airplane joke is sort of like, it can't be Shirley, don't call me Shirley, and everything like that. But the bit where Donna's talking to Mel and talking about the Doctor, and she said, "Can I say parked? Is that offensive?"
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
No, I don't get this either. I really don't. I think it was more because she's the joke was that she's going to imply to leave them on the beach and like that park them with their wheels so they can't move. I think that's what they're getting.
Yeah, because it's sort of like, why direct that to Shirley because of the wheelchair? I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's just an errant Donna comment. I think that's just how Donna works. I know we're in a more PC world and stuff, but I think Donna is just quite a sarky character, so therefore even in series 4 would direct a certain joke to the most likely person in the room.
Well, I mean, think about Donna's mother and talking about Rose, and
no, but this is an entirely different context. No,
but still, it's the same thing of like, it still has that.
I don't think it does, because
I just wonder whether it's something that I don't understand that I've missed, because I
don't really get it, apart from it being like matey banter. Like, if you were to say something similar, and if you were to make a joke like, oh, that's actually offensive, but you did it in a jokey way. But then Shirley seems to go borderline and make it into like a serious kind of point, which I don't really get, because again, as a disabled person, if your mates make a joke, I think it's okay. Just if you know the person, they're making a joke, I think that's absolutely fine. So I think we shouldn't be taking away from that aspect. I think joking about things is actually quite good and healthy. So I think we should have that in television. I do. Seriously, I do. I think if you take away jokes about whether it's a marginalised group or whatever, obviously depending on who's in that group can determine whether the joke's good or not and what have you.
Yeah.
But getting rid of all jokes about certain physical disabilities or whatever, if you get rid of all that, then you can't really talk about it in a realistic way. So I didn't mind the delivery. I just didn't really get why it was turned into a point towards the end when Shirley was borderline, because I was like, well, it's not. Like, you guys have made worse jokes towards me, and I couldn't give a toss.
This is not true. This is not true. Cut it out of the podcast.
You're not going to get bloody cancelled, mate. But like, it's just, I don't know. I think that was a bit weird. Speaking actually, before we get to that, we get the original and first build up of the Doctor, you haven't stopped going, and I'll get into why this doesn't work for me towards the end of the episode, but this comes out of fucking nowhere. He just goes, "Oh, you haven't spoken about this person in ages." Well, he didn't do that anyway. The only people you know about, he doesn't do that all the time anyway. This isn't new. It does that for me doesn't work, because the Doctor never talks about anyone. That's kind of his character. That's kind of the point.
And but the thing is, Donna's come back, and she thinks, oh, the Doctor cares about me so much, must talk to, knowing he has other companions, must talk about me all the time and the others, and you know, he's always that person that just keeps running. Donna doesn't know that, you know.
But she looked into the Doctor's mind, Elijah, so she does know that. You see, this is
Do
where
you-
this is where it doesn't work. This is where you can't really have scenes like this because she knows how the Doctor, what the Doctor's done. Well, that's you can't, like when she was looking into the Doctor's mind and she forgets about all the Moffat companions, and you have to, that doesn't work because if she looked, she would, that's where you begin to create loopholes for yourself. Really, at least that's how my thing goes. But we do get a good horror sequence in this middle part here. Some really good visual horror, I think.
Did skip over the when the Doctor and Donna first meet the toy maker in
He's
the
juggling.
shop.
He's juggling.
That bit is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Zebals.
The preview clip for that was like, oh my god, this is terrifying. And the way the Doctor tells Donna, go back to the TARDIS,
Yeah.
like, genuinely freaked out.
A side note, do you always find it weird if you watch a preview clip and then you've seen the preview clip and then you go into the episode? Do you ever just get like taken aback a little bit and go, oh, this is what I've already seen when you're watching a new episode? Because I always get that little thought in my mind, oh, I've seen this bit. And then I go back to... Yeah.
Or like seeing Shooty say, what the hell is going on here? And then seeing where it actually happened.
I like seeing how things slip into context because obviously up until that point, everyone's trying to read million and one things into it. But we've had an introduction to that, and now we've got an introduction of well, up until this, before this point, in the street scene, we've had, the toy maker dancing around, runs into the Doctor, French accent, different accent, reveling in the chaos that there is. And now we're back to the German accent in 1925. And we've already had like the Doctor recognizing something's off, that something's coming back, something's there, and it's this is the moment of realization of who it is.
Donna go back to the TARDIS. Really good. The music here is really strong as well. Like every time he throws one of the juggling balls and the catching stuff's really strong.
And shout out to our friend Kieran Hyman and Rich Tipple, who did a little colorization for the flashbacks.
And Sophie Cowdery, who did a lot of the design. It's a shame we didn't see sort of more stuff inside the shop. I'd love to have seen I hope that it's something that they'll add in the future, is like a 360 tour of like of certain sets. Like that set for the Toy Maker store is amazing, and there's brilliant motifs that I'll mention in a while as we go through it. That it's like just little touches, design wise, set wise, it's absolutely gorgeous. And like Elijah said, Neil Patrick Harris is so multi-talented. It's him doing the juggling all the time while he's delivering a speech. He's also putting on an accent and doing all of this at the same time. You've got this guy is a powerhouse in like just being multi-talented. He did not make up half of this crap on his CV. He could do this stuff.
Absolutely. Then obviously we kind of go into the toy maker's domain, if you will. We go into like a madhouse, a crazy house, loads of doors and stuff. And the Doctor and Donna get split up. It's like every episode of Scooby-Doo ever. Don't split up. Don't do it. You know what's about to happen.
That's you bring up Scooby-Doo. I was hoping there was going to be more of that, where the Doctor and Donna just miss each other.
That would have been quite good. They also reference to Partners in Crime as well. Potentially, you could have had that as a little Easter egg. I
like all the door frames all had the clowns on. All the light fixtures, I don't know if you noticed those as well. They're all done with playing cards. The set design and the art department just excelled.
The attention to detail in here is fantastic. So the Doctor goes to see the bloke from the beginning who worked with John Logie Baird, and he's been turned into a marionette, or has he? It's very confusing to know whether he was actually there or whether it was just a visual trick, because the Doctor appears about 30 seconds later. Another very ambitious CGI thing. It looked better than the head between the legs last week. That's all I'll say. We have had a couple floating head moments in these specials. that did not work last week. I think this one you get away with it. I don't know what you guys think, but I think this one didn't look as bad.
I think it worked well, especially watching the behind the scenes of how they made the puppets and how they, you know, how they match the character movement. Like they'd record the actors first, and then they would match their movement of the puppets to match how they recorded their dialogue.
Yeah.
It it worked. It would have been cooler if they were just genuinely like the face was also the puppet head talking,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, I like the scene with obviously John Logie Baird's assistant. And you get this idea that the toy maker is not someone who's bound by the physical rules or of the universe, the laws of science. It's like someone who is outside of, who can just like alter reality, just by willing it into being. So, and you get the idea that there is the people who enter into games or deals with the toy maker, what happens to? I think while I like it, and the work that goes into it with Sticky Sue and the sticky babbies.
I need to talk about this because you guys probably haven't. But in my reaction video yesterday, I was watching it with Chris and Alex, and we accidentally thought she was called Sticky Sue and the Sticky Children. But Alex accidentally called her Sticky Vicky, not Sticky Sue.
That's someone else who I think that's it. They've added that for the creepy element, and I understand how puppets are creepy. Had there been more time, which is something I'd have liked to have seen more things about what happened to people who have encountered the toy maker before, just to like
and
because
how systematic was it? Like why John Logie Baird? Like what has he done it to other people before that to get to this point? It's like one of those things. Like well,
I think when you met the toy maker before, everyone that you encountered had been people who'd fallen foul of his games and everything like that.
Yeah,
I'd have liked to have seen more evidence of that.
Yeah, I think that's true. Then we get kind of our first big Doctor versus Toy Maker show off, and we get a little marionette show again done by Neil Patrick Harris because this man just can't do it. He can do everything. So he's doing this, and he's basically taking us a recap through the Moffat companions, and he is now in a new meme format of well, that's all right then. I thought this was all right. Again, it's one of those things where like it sort of serves not only to break the Doctor down, but kind of show Donna what's happened. But I kind of question whether she knows that or not. It's I feel like it's serving two purposes. On one hand, it works. On the other hand, Donna knows about the fucks and that, but she can't remember who Amy Pond is. Like, I don't quite. What's the limit here? Like, Donna keeps going. Is that true? Is that true? Is that true? And it's like, what do you know? And what do you not know? Because this is inconsistent now. Am I the only one that thinks that?
Right, visually looks stunning. Them getting in the seats, getting pulled forward, the marionette theatre, the way it looks, the scale, it looks absolutely amazing. Like I say, the art. There should be awards that they should be winning for this. No, I get what it's trying to achieve because he's trying to highlight what is the trauma that the Doctor has gone through, and the people who have been affected by him, and I suppose talk about how he reconciles it with himself. Well, that's all right then, because Clara's living in her last moment of life somewhere else. Amy died of old age, albeit in a different time. I think that's what is trying to be established in that.
Fair. Yeah, I just again, there's also one bit about this which I'm going to skip forward slightly. But a shot where obviously it all kind of breaks down because the toy maker's like, oh, let's take the battle to 2023 or whatever he says, something along the lines of that. And there's a bit where Donna's running away, and I'm never gonna have a go at Catherine Tate's acting, but she's doing a light jog at best, and you can tell they've not really described to Catherine Tate what's going on behind her because she looks so plain faced, just slightly jogging away. So it only takes me out of that one shot, and if you watch it again, you probably will never see it in any other light. Bless her, but she's just, I'm running, and it's just her doing little knee high ups, which is really funny. But obviously, this is where the Doctor loses the first game, or the second game, if you will. But the first game of this episode loses a game of cards. Yeah, it's all right, isn't it? I think it's one of those things where it's the tension between the actors that makes it a lot more dramatic than what it is, because they're basically playing a game of cards. Like, you can't really visually make that too dramatic. So actually, that's where having an actor like Neil Patrick Harris coming in makes this actively work. If you had a shift actor, this would not work at all.
Oh no, I think the acting is great. The acting is great, and Neil Patrick Harris did all that card work himself, which is it's impressive.
Stop being so talented, Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, that's it. You're making the rest of us look bad. But in the run up to that, when they're just before they go into that, the Doctor says, like, what am I without my box and without my sonic screwdriver? I don't know who I am. And I won before. I don't know if I can win this time. And Donna says to him, sort of, dice don't remember, who won, what happened in the last game. Every game starts from scratch. This is where it sort of like it dropped off a little bit for me. Every game starts from scratch, so he goes in, he challenges to a game, he loses, and then he goes, oh, but by the way, best of 3.
Yeah,
it's sort of like, well, hang on a second. If every game is starting from scratch, why are you contradicting yourself? 2 minutes later and just pulling up this one for the best part of however many years ago.
That's a good point.
Well, I think it was a point of just to win, to banish him. I think that was more of the point.
I think it's a reaction to being provoked, but it's sort of like, don't say something and then contradict in the realms of telling the story. And this is a directed thing at RTD. Don't contradict yourself 2 minutes later, because that's sort of what he does a little bit. Dice don't remember what happened in the game before. Every game starts from scratch, and then 2-3 minutes later, you're basically referring to a game that happened, the very first time he met the toy maker. So it's sort of like, well, it does have a factor to it.
Yeah, but if I hadn't thought about it, actually, like, obviously, because I only watched it twice, so you guys watched it a couple of times more. But I agree with you, actually, because I also think as well, within the context of this story, I know they mentioned that there's one game before and the time, but there was no establishment of the best of 3 before that. It was like, if you lose this game, Doctor, you lose everything, and it's like, oh no, actually, I've got this clause in the contract, actually, because I'm on the first game rematch.
I get that, but it's this. Okay, take that back. I get what they were setting up, because he, if he wants his prize to banish the toy maker, gotta win best of 3.
But I don't get why the toy maker would give up his prize. That's what I done. It's like, the toy maker won. Why would he then go, shit, I now have to? And they keep making this thing, it's the toy maker's law. He has to accept. Well, then by that logic, surely the Doctor could just go best of 5, best of 7. Like, where does it end? But that's another thing, Like, I'm not trying to shit on the episode because it is a good scene, but like, if you open that logic, technically the Doctor could just go on forever and ever and ever.
And be like, too hard about it, Alex.
Oh no, but this is like Beef said. You make a massive point of the game resets, and then it doesn't. Like, if you put that scene in there, Beef and I wouldn't be questioning on coming at these points if Russell didn't put that scene before in, where it's established that every game is a fresh, it's a new, and then you go, actually, no.
Well, technically it is a new game. Sure, you're playing it to best of whatever, but it is technically a new game.
I don't know. I agree with Beef a little bit. There is a
I
potential.
just like I say, if yeah, it's. I just think it's the devil's in the details. Do you know what I mean? Clarify it slightly, or just like say we've played once before, and then address it before you go into it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to suggest a way of like doing it better. It's easy to just tear it down, but say, could you do it better? It's right, yeah. If you say, well, best of, I've bested you before, and best of three, and if he won that one, then great. Do you know what I mean? But if he loses it, then it's sort of, does it? Are you reducing the stakes? If you're doing something that early in it, then you're not losing the stakes. You're just like keeping it going. Do you know what I mean? Oh no, hang on. Before you do that though, there's an amazing special effect that they do when the domain collapses in on itself.
Oh yeah.
And I think once again it carries on with that really, really good card motif that we've been having going all the way through it. Because if you look at it, it all collapses like a house of cards. As they're running through the corridor, it all falling like a rifling deck of cards, and everything fits together like cards. It is amazing. It's
The
amazing.
attention to detail
Yeah.
by the effects and set designers, they really got the best people working on this series.
Yeah. Visually this was incredible. Like you say, some of the little motifs they do are great. Here's where we get into the interesting bit, boys. Strap in, because we go back to the modern day. And this is another part of the story that didn't work for me, but I don't know whether you can tell me why I did. But basically, Kate, they have this missile that can blow up a satellite. If they blow up the satellite, they're going to piss off the world. That I'm okay with. That makes sense. It's a well-unified satellite. But also, why does the Doctor have permission over everyone else? I'm missing that.
You're forgetting. He's president of the world.
President of the world, Alex.
Oh, was that actually a thing? I just thought they made that up.
Remember Zygon invasion / inversion?
That's
okay,
it.
I'll rescind my comment. I'll rescind.
In the effect that the world leaders are compromised, which we've found out, he has executive order control.
Okay, I'll rescind my comments.
Luckily, they made the satellite South Korean.
Yeah.
I liked it that it was COSATS 5, like Satellite 5. Do you know what I mean? There's lots of little like Easter eggs, I suppose, for although I don't remember a bit where Kate's fought Yetis. But because I think what was it she said? Robots, Yetis,
aliens.
Oh, can we talk about Trinity Wells as the Alex Jones of the
Doctor?
I love that.
It's good to see her back. I'm really sad. I'm really gutted. I know obviously it's not a big cameo, but I'm really gutted she was on the cast list. When they like redacted the cast list, I wish it just didn't put her name on there. I know she's not a big character, but like it was a shame. Imagine we didn't know she was in it, and then she pops up.
But I like the way that she's ascended from random anchor person to now like the Trinity World show.
I was thinking, oh yeah, she'll show up in the Star Beast when they do like a news report about the crashed spaceship, but that never happened. So I love that.
Yeah, and then obviously we get to, and the Doctor is starting another like monologue about what we need to do, and suddenly Spice Girl starts playing, and that entire sequence, I think it's up there for potentially the best like musical madness sequence of the modern series. If you include the ones with the Master in it, this is better than both the Sims ones for me.
I'd agree. I agree 100%.
I think the Rasputin one was more funny because it's just like, what the fuck's happening? And there is a comedic element to that. But as an actual set piece, this guy is the best one. It's got the choreography. It's got the great cuts where he's just popping up everywhere. like that. I don't obviously remember on Unleashed when Ruth Madeley was talking about how many different takes they did of just that one shot where she looked over and he's there, and every time it's something different. I would not want to have to been the director and the editor and Russell in that room trying to think which.
Oh no, I want to see, that's it. I want to see all the alternative cuts. I and I like that embracement of chaos and everything like that.
Yeah.
Those musical interludes always are supposed to be chaos, but there is sort of, it's good-natured menace, if you know what I mean. It's the humor of the scene that underplays the sinister element to it.
It also shows the fun side of the toy maker, not as in but like it shows that he is the toy maker. He's there in his eyes for fun. He thinks it's all a game. He sees it all as fun. So when he's doing that and like doing not Snow Angel but Rose Petal Angel on the floor and just laughing, and he thinks it's all, he literally thinks it's a game. So I think that's the scene that best exemplifies that throughout the episode.
Yeah, like turning the guns into rose petals, and then the soldiers who tried to detain him into like the colorful balls. Like that was great.
Yeah, that one shot where Shelley looks at them. That one shot where Shelley looks at the and the guy's face is just in the ball. Ooh. But I'm also going to give a shout out to Gemma Redcave's scared face when she's doing the dancing. She's done, considering she's literally doing a bit of ballroom, she's still got that what the fuck face on.
And how hard she hit that wall! My God, like
incredible. And then basically the toy maker goes down a little trap door that doesn't exist. Another thing that I loved. I thought it was great. And then we get to our final action set piece on the helipad. And we get to the most interesting thing, and the toy maker just lasers him in the chest. Now, I wouldn't have minded this if it literally wasn't the last way the last Doctor regenerated was through a very similar laser through the chest.
The third time that it's happened now where the Doctor has been lasered.
But this is back to back as well. So I think that's why I was a bit like, it's eerily similar. That's eerily.
Okay, Alex, how would you have liked Tenet to go? Like what?
I don't know, mate. Just turn into
scenario.
Turn into one of those ball things, man. You can imagine that. And then
I suppose it plays into the impulsive nature of the toy maker, because they also run out there and it's sort of like, well, where are all the deck crew and everything like that? And if you listen, you hear a very faint breaking of glass where they're hitting the floor at the other end. I suppose the idea, I suppose, of the laser is the impulsive nature, but I think also you're skipping over there the offer that the Doctor makes to him before that.
Yeah, if we can be beings, which I would like in prospect, but the amount of times I've heard David Tennant say to omnious beings that we can be together, we can travel, and I it kind of just rings hollow because I've heard it before.
The thing that I think Beef is alluding to is the use of the word celestial in that moment, because there's a lot of racial connotations to the word, and the way that the Doctor used it was correct in terms of talking about the stars and constellations and being in the space, traveling the stars.
I mean, but he's also, the toy maker makes this sort of statement about how society is, how people play mind games. It's the canceling people. It's the way people conduct themselves, and people just have this predisposition. I think it's also like Russell making a commentary on like internet discourse or social media culture, how everyone's and the idea about everyone having their opinion and it being right, and they're pushing their opinion on everyone else. The toy maker sees this as endless hours of fun and everything like that. And then obviously the Doctor tries to sort of placate it and say why why try and be so small? And he says, well, I've fallen in love with this planet, and you can say that's true, because he's fallen in love with this planet for the opposite reason to why the Doctor has fallen in love with this planet, or has the affection for it. He sees what humans can aspire to be, and the toy maker sees them at their basis element of what they are and how they act towards each other. So there's a little bit of like, opposite sides. We're very similar, you and I. But then again, it's like the same thing with the toy maker making the racial comment at the start, and then putting saying very outright saying, we're not going to use the term celestial in this because of the connotations, but I'm still going to put it in later on, but I'm going to make sure it's used in the right way. But it's sort of like, I don't know if it needed to be there either.
Yeah, it kind of felt like, now we're going to use the term the correct way.
And I know that he mentions it in the commentary, but also there's a line in the Spice Up Your Life song that isn't very well, isn't very politically correct either.
Yes.
So it's sort of like, it's either all okay or it's not okay, and it's sort of like, I don't think it's needed, but that's just me. He's saying it's the licensed version of the song that has it, and we couldn't take it out. We tried to put sound over it, and I noticed on the subtitles for the episode they leave that line out, which is good.
You cut this bit out, but what is the line in the song, or what's the line that they're referring to?
A yellow man in Timbuktu, colors for both me and you.
I'm not that familiar with the song.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need to cut that out. That's it's to do with the I mean, again, it's one of those things where these record labels don't want tampering with their songs and all this sort of stuff, isn't it? So it's a weird one, because obviously I entirely get where Russell's coming from with the whole use of the word. We don't want to use a word with those connotations, but then, like you say, we're bringing it back in the episode anyway. If it was in any other episode, it might have just been a thing we don't really think about and it would work. But when you're literally directing it at
we've called him the toy maker all the way along. We need to have this hark back?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know. Now we get on to the bit that I don't know whether it exploded to it or not. I've not been on it, but the bi-generation gets the Doctor gets tugged off and split into two. Interesting. It's interesting.
Very interesting.
Well, yeah, in the words of a good friend of ours, it's interesting. But within the what I'm going to say, I'll let you guys talk about it more. Within the context of the 20 minutes in this episode, I really enjoyed it because I like seeing Shooty and David together. When I think about it more, I go, that's kind of my basis for it.
At first, my perception, just even like hearing the leaks about it, I was a little trepidatious about it. It's kind of like, really, do we need another David Tennant just living? Obviously there's the human David Tennant, the Metacrisis, and then the Doctor version. But I'm kind of on board with it because, like Russell said, it opens up. I haven't watched the full in-vision commentary, but it opens up the gateways for more older-looking Doctors and such. And why not? Sure, it was something that's never been done before, but I mean, they were still in the toy maker's realm by that point, so sure, why not?
I'm really in the middle on this. Thoughts?
Regeneration is something that has happened throughout the course of the show. And in the same way as I think Chris Chibnall did with the Daleks, you want to find something a little bit different to do with the Dalek mutant, and the regeneration is literally part of the DNA of the show. So to do something slightly different with it, is a bold move, to say the least. I don't intrinsically have a problem with it. I don't intrinsically have a problem with it. But I think, do it, but think more about it maybe before you do it, because I like the idea of there being the previous Doctor to shepherd in the new Doctor, that there's an interaction between them.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's sort of like
like I said, that was the part of it that when you're not thinking about it, you're just watching Shooty Gatwa together. It's really fun, really exciting.
I believe Shooty Gatwa has a lot of what is called Riz.
Yes.
And the guy is absolutely astounding on screen, and I've no doubt that he's going. I'm looking forward to watching his show more than, to a certain degree, slightly more than I've been looking forward to these specials, because
I'm the exact same.
You're not bogged down by the weight of having to do something that is, allegedly a 60th anniversary. Sorry, allegedly. I mean that no disrespect. A 60th anniversary.
Yeah, I want to talk about this at the end of the show. So definitely,
But with it comes, a lot of baggage. I think, in my personal opinion, it would be to say, okay, here's this mythic thing that's never happened before, that's never ever been mentioned before, but conveniently enough, it's happening right now. And it's sort of like, there's no precedent for it. There's never been any mention of it, but it's just this thing that we made up. And it's obviously something that, Russell has wanted to do for ages. And it just seems like, well, do you know what? This is what I'm going to do. And I've worked everything back from this because this is the end point that I wanted to get. But I do like that there is an interaction between the old and the new, like I said. But it creates so much complication. I would have preferred it as a like, but I will, the previous Doctor that is there ushering in the new one is only an echo that will only be there for a certain amount of, a limited amount of time. And you don't have to have a horrible death scene or anything like that, but you could just say, the things that made the Doctor, they don't have anymore.
I feel like I'm okay with there being another Doctor there, because there's so many other timelines of the Doctor being on Earth. It's the fact of, what is Tennant going to regenerate again, and then thus another Doctor pops? That's where it gets a little.
Well, and also, I'm going to skip a bit forward. We'll go back to the Time Maker and the conclusion there is one bit of this that really doesn't work for me. I don't know if you can explain it better, but considering Shooty Gatwa has the same memories, the same everything, why can his incarnation travel and not be haggard back by the past? But this newly regenerated David Tennant is so tired and old, and he can't go on. I don't get that. I don't.
It was almost, when they did the poll, it was almost like birth.
But it wasn't, because literally Shooty Gatwa's Doctor, the 15th Doctor, goes, you didn't ever think about this, isn't this? That still pains me. So really, he still has those inner feelings. So to me, it goes down to, I don't know whether, I think it causes more questions than it does answers, and not in a good way. I don't know.
I wonder whether it's a good idea to go back to the idea of the bi-generation after this. Do you know what I mean? Because for me, it's there's been a lot of, I don't know whether this feels like, Russell saying, I wish the story for Donna had ended another way. I wish that the story for how David left the show, or how the 10th Doctor went. I don't want that to be cheapened, because I feel there's to have a genuine emotion come from that. and that how much it's resonated and stuck with people is a big thing. And I don't want to cheapen it either by saying, this thing that we've just made up.
Yeah, I don't know
But
if
there's
shows
but there's
end.
but there's been a lot of like, well, why did you come back with this phase? Oh, well, basically what it is your subconscious is telling you that you've got a lot of an emotional baggage.
But that baggage continues on with Shooting-Gatwa. I don't get
Well,
it.
no, well, I think what they're saying, and this is where it's all very muddled, is that, well, no, you're going to stay here and you're going to work this all out, but because I'm the next version of you, then when you work all that stuff out, somehow, all of a sudden, all my stuff is going to go away. But this is where, to me, it feels like a little bit of like this is setting up for the spin-off, which is going to be Shooty's story going forward, because then you don't have to deal with 60 years worth of backstory for this show and the character. That's what it is. You're wiping the slate for the character, but I feel it's also you're doing it a disservice because the main one of the main things about Doctor Who for me or for a lot of people has always been the idea of change. And the Doctor changes, and this is the Doctor, and loads of people have said this when new Doctors have come in and you didn't like it, but the show is all about change. This is the Doctor. Well, then you've done it. This is a new Doctor, and you're sort of like, well, no, but we've still got this thing hanging around in the background just in case this thing with Shooty doesn't work out. It's sort of like it's a little bit disingenuous. To me, some people are saying, well, this version that's left behind is going to be the curator. But you're making that fit for your own headcanon. If that's how you feel about it, great. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also it's going to be like, oh, well, this show's not much good. I'd rather have a version of, what's going to happen with the David Tennant Doctor, or we're going to do a spin-off with the David Tennant Doctor, or we're going to keep pulling him back every few years for everything like that. It's sort of like, no, do you know what? Just draw a line, let the guy go, let the guy rest. And that was his Doctor. This is it.
Yeah, I was thinking as well. It does create issues. I'm sorry, I don't believe because he's retired. It means because if there's a world-ending event and David Tennant doesn't do anything, he just looks like a dickhead. I'm sorry. That's just how it's going to be for me because he still has a TARDIS. He can still go around. Just because he's got emotional baggage doesn't mean he can let tons of people die when he can help out. You've now created that issue for yourself.
Well, that's okay then.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. This is it. The Doctor is the Doctor is how is everyone supposed to say, oh, well, he's got to work on himself. He's an alien from another planet with two hearts. By two things like, don't say, well, you can't, force your feelings upon him because this is how he should be. But it's a made up character. And up until this point, this character has always said, do you know why I don't stick around too long? Do you know why I don't like and don't do goodbyes? It's because it's hard for me. I can't sit around and watch people get old. And it's too painful for me, and that's why I keep moving. That's why I keep going on. And then you do this by generation. And there's the Doctor going to live with his brand new family, who's going to sit there and watch them all get old and die. How's that the universe giving you your prize, Sonny Jim? It's not. To be honest with you, I feel that's where I feel it's like muddled. That's why I would rather it be like, okay, do it, but say, right, okay, now you will age, you will live as a human. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I let it go. Do what you did in the Star Beast and say, right, do you know what? I'm letting it go. I will just be now a regular human, reconciling myself and living out my days, quietly in that. You've already had, Matt Smith showing that he can't live a linear existence because of everything that happens in the Power of Three. People hate it and everything like that, but that's an example of how the Doctor cannot fit into normal society. So it's sort of you're sort of really, it's so muddled. It's not sitting right with me. And like I say, the cruelest joke is that it's sort of like, that it's his. But this is what I've been fighting for. It's things like this, like sitting here with my family, my niece, and my sister, and dirty old Auntie Mel, and everything like that. But eventually, he's going to watch them all get old and die, and he's not going to change.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
At that point, there was one chair left at that table. And where the hell was Susan?
Yeah.
Talking
Yeah,
about
he doesn't care about
Where the
Susan. He
hell-
doesn't care about Susan. He's got his family now. He doesn't need her.
Because
He
I
left
go,
her. He doesn't need a family.
yeah.
I don't like. Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you, Beef. I think I actually. I don't.
Because
Slap in the face is the wrong term, but I
I
think.
go back to like when you know the end of 10, the end of 10. Because the
Yeah.
thing is, 14 is you know, different from 10. So let's get that clear. But he was saying like, you know, everything I've done, what do I get? What does it? You know, the universe should, you know, deserve something for me. And it was supposed to be this very long goodbye that he had to go and say goodbye to everyone. You know, where's my reward? Now, ultimately, if this is, you know, Russell sort of giving the reward or a different exit for this actor, and that's how I want to do it. Yeah, but it's, do you need to?
No.
Does it really answer why this face came back? Was, well, yeah, no, there's a little button that flicked in my head that said, I need therapy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think everyone had theories about why this face, and was it Time Maker, was it not? And to actually find out, he just needed to sit down and eat some chicken with the Temple Nobles. It's a bit
he
like
needs to sit down. He needs to sit down and reconcile with everything that's happened to him. And you know, yeah, do you know what? Everyone's life is built on tragedy and things that happen to them, and it forms the person that you are, and you go forward from that. And the Doctor goes forward from all these bad things that happen and goes on and does amazing, fantastic things, saves lives, takes that experience and things that have happened and turns it into a power for good.
Yeah.
And you know, and often at the expense of them themselves, will sacrifice themselves for the greater good.
Yeah.
So then to turn around and say, well, no, you sit down and everything like that, you know, you deserve this. It's sort of like, well, no, do you know what? It doesn't sort of, for me personally, if people, if they love it, that's great, and yeah, everyone can enjoy and everything like that. But it just felt muddled, doing something different, a little bit different for the sake of doing it. I liked it, but do it with caveats. Yeah, just say, yeah, that's it. You're the new Doctor. You're going to take my memories. I'm going to, I can still exist here, but I will have none of the bells and whistles, or I will just be an echo of myself to shepherd you through and see you off, and I'll vanish like a force ghost.
You didn't need that. The one thing I will say is he didn't need to keep the TARDIS if he was genuinely.
No, because that does cause problems. That does cause problems. Like I said, that if there's ever a world cataclysmic event in 2023 or whatever in the future, and Tennant doesn't show up, he just looks like an asshole. He just does. I don't care if he's, I want to sit down and not do it anymore. People are dying, Doctor, and that's literally why you had to go sit down in the first place. So why are you not there? Yeah, I agree with you, Beef. I just think it is a bit, not closed-minded is the right word, but I think it takes away all the development of the last three Doctors to go, oh, he just wanted to revert back to the development he had at the end of Time. And that's kind of where we go. I think it doesn't rip away what Matt Capaldi and Whittaker went through, but it sort of kind of deletes it to kind of fit within that socket, if you will. Oh, actually, I want to just sit down with these people that I really loved. Actually, all the people I met before don't really count, because if he was like, oh, I'm going to go off and I'm going to see different families and all that sort of stuff, and that would work. But if I'm just to sit down with Donna and all that, I don't know how I feel about that side of it as well.
I just get this idea of just like, why, you're just giving him the power to sit there and watch everyone who he cares about grow old and die. I think that's actually a bit just a bit messed up, to be honest with you.
I'm also gonna comment something that was in the commentary. Obviously, it's not in the episode, so I'm not hold it against the episode. It's just kind of, I don't know if you've watched it, so you can give me context. But Russell did mention that in that moment, every Doctor by generated, and this I dislike heavily. I don't know about you guys, but I think that does take away from the regeneration scenes.
Well, I think it also just takes away from the person you've got doing the job currently, because the focus should be Shooty's the Doctor. These are Shooty's adventures and everything like that. And it's not like for a long time there was a lot of fan people saying, "Oh, why can't they just make a McGann spin-off series?" Now they'll be like, "Why can't we have a spin-off series with this, that, and the other?" To be honest with you, I don't want that. I don't want this because, and that's why, to a certain degree, this felt like a little bit of a setup for spin-offs than sort of like a not like a celebration, but like a recognition of this. To be honest with you, so that's where I really struggled on that. And obviously, if like you say, where Russell says, "Oh, every Doctor generates," then I feel sorry for the timeless children who are canonized that are going to come back and say, "Why did you push me off? Why did I fall off a cliff? Why did you just kill me, Mum?" Several times over. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it creates more problems than it changes.
Yeah, it's also like I've seen some people in messages or on Twitter go, "Oh, it's nice because my Doctor continues." But I'm also like, but it's a time travel show, so okay, they're still out there anyway.
It's a
Like,
show about change. That's the idea.
It's not a linear thing. Like technically, I know it wouldn't happen, obviously, due to real life events. But John Pertwee could pop up in 2025. It's just he travelled there in the TARDIS. Like, you don't need him to be back from the dead again to make that.
Your doctor carries on having adventures in Big Finish if you're that way inclined, because there's everything like that. You will always have those additional extra stories.
Yeah,
but in essence, the show is about change and moving forward.
Yeah, very quickly, because I think we're on a bit of a tangent. This does conclude with the greatest game of catch of all time, though. Also, that very dramatic, very good fun game of catch. The Toymaker gets defeated, I think, a bit quickly. I think that's the only thing on rewatch I really picked up on is that like it does feel slightly undramatic. Obviously, I know a game of catch is hard to make dramatic, but he just sort of doesn't catch the ball after like 8 throws, and it's like, oh fuck, I'm dead.
I mean, was the Trilogic game dramatic, Alex?
What?
The Trilogic game?
I don't know what the fuck you're on about.
The original.
Is it the original Toymaker game?
No clue, mate. No clue. Never seen it. But I'm just saying, I think, it's a big conclusion. It's fine, but I just think, I get it's all meant to be basic games and stuff. I don't know. I just think the fact that he struggled to catch it. All right, cool, whatever. It's one of those things where it's like it's fun and the direction's really good, so it does make it dramatic. But it's just like when someone asks, "How did they defeat the Toymaker?" We did catch a ball. What? Well, it's one of those things. If you watch it in context, it does work a bit better. But when you think about it, it's like it's one of those things. But yeah, what I want to do, what we'll do is we'll go our scores next. We've got a podcast coming out next week about the 60th anniversary as a whole, but I do kind of want to get your immediate reactions after watching all 3 about whether we think it's a good 60th anniversary specials, because this is where I may have some opinions that some people might not like, but it's all subjective. But if we go to you first on your score, because I'm interested. I can't actually land where you're going to put yours.
Well, the Toymaker ended going very card-like and folding up and following on with that aesthetic. I really liked that, and that was a good. We've had lots of issues with other things, and then we pulled Maverick Chen, which is a really weird callback at the end. There's a lot of callbacks that I don't understand. Right, actors great, sound great, visuals great, pacing and story not so great. This could have been, I would have said, an hour and a half, and you could have expanded on it, expanded the resolution, this ongoing situation, and the story was muddled. It just seemed to be like, well, this is the sort of endpoint we want to go to, and just working back from there. Story, I would say a 5.
Ooh.
I'm not gonna. I really do. I feel. I'm not gonna blow smoke up on Russell T Davies' arse. He's a great writer and everything like that. But this is not his great thing. This was muddled. This was, 3 different stories crammed into a very short space of time, and it was really muddled. And I don't want to say be contrary for contrary's sake, but sometimes he does fall down this idea of doing this. I just want to see how things are going to be going forward. But I felt this was, for me, not the best, and I feel it could have been so much better.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 7. I think in terms of an episode, I really enjoy it. I think thinking about the ramifications of it, I start to, but obviously, I did really enjoy seeing Tennant and Shooty on screen together. I did enjoy the Spice Girl sequence. I did enjoy Neil Patrick Harris throughout the story. It's really on the stuff of the regeneration, but because it's one of those things where it's just like, why this night? It just seems convenient, like you say, Beef, that it happened.
Shooty is the future. Do you know what? The one guy that walked, Neil Patrick Harris and him walked away with it. Yeah, for this, they were by far the standout people in that for me.
Absolutely, but Elijah, you've had a 5 and a 7. Are you going to go 9 to make it logical?
I'm gonna go with an 8. The reason I say that, I think it could have been longer. I do agree with that. I feel like could have gotten rid of Wild Blue Yonder, which I'm.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like you could have been with Star Beast, and then you meet up with Wilf, and then
straight into this. Straight
going
into
down
this.
again. Dude, 2 hours, mega.
Yeah.
Boom.
The Wild Blue Yonder feels like a episode
Well,
they've
even
cut
if
from.
it was 2 parts, like the Giggle Part 1 and the Giggle Part 2.
Yeah, there was 4 episodes. It was 4 episodes. I mean, it would still make Wild Blue Yonder feel really fucking weird, and because like episodes 1 and 3 sort of link together until you just sort of go off and have an adventure for 1 week, and then you come back to the overline story. But I agree with you actually. And I can't wait to discuss next week about with other people that loved Wild Blue Yonder, because that's going to get very interesting. Because
it's going to be interesting.
Every time I rewatch Wild Blue Yonder, I despise it more. I begin to dislike it more and more.
I know. I watched the podcast and I felt sorry for you.
Thank you.
I only watched
I thought I made some good points. I thought I made some good points there, but that they were loving it. And I ain't gonna stop anyone from loving Doctor Who. That's not what we're here to do. Right. Now, I want to preface this with the answer to my grievances is not just straight up cameos. However, as somebody that did not watch this pairing in 2008 when it first came out, I don't feel this is a 60th anniversary. I feel that this is a celebration of Series 4. And on the basis of that being the most popular series by demand, it makes sense. However, as a Doctor Who fan of the other stuff and Series 4, I do feel a bit shortchanged. I don't saying I want Matt Smith to have 3 episodes as well or appear in it, but I didn't feel like it was well balanced. That's just me being a bit, upset that we've had Tales of the TARDIS, which reference those doctors. But I thought, maybe it was unavailable. Maybe they weren't asked. You never know with those kind of questions when they get asked at conventions. On reflection, though, and I might change my mind when I binge for all 3 of them back to back to back. I'm like, look, you know what, it works. But as a Doctor Who 60th anniversary, this doesn't work. As 3 specials of Doctor Who, it's fine. As a 60th anniversary, no. I don't know what you think, Beef.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I suppose that's going to be your topic for the next podcast. It's. I don't. Yeah, I feel it's. Yeah, not. It's. I'm struggling to actually work out what it is. The first episode, I think, was a lot of nostalgia, and the relationship between the characters is great and everything like that, but ultimately it's posing a question of why did this face come back, your ultimate saying, well, 60 years of the show is basically we've got to the point of saying the doctor needs a rest. It just seems to be like I said earlier, getting rid of the baggage for what is going to be the show going forward. And that's not necessarily what I think marking 60 years of the show should be, is jettisoning the baggage and making it for spin-offs.
Yeah.
Because that's how it sort of has left me feeling at the moment.
Yeah, for me, again, obviously, I'm really happy for everyone that loves Tennant and Tate, and I love them in these episodes. I loved them in 2008. Watching that back. But as a person that started watching in 2013, I do feel a bit shortchanged. Now I know that's just me as somebody that started, and I understand that there's much more popular stuff I watched it back then. So I'm in a minority in senses here. But like obviously Tales of the TARDIS, she had certain bits. But from as a you know, as a Moffat fan, as a, you know, and all that sort of stuff, there was barely anything. I know I'm not taking marionettes as being a concrete enough celebration of the Moffat. I'm not having that. I'm not having it. Like I said, obviously it's just me as a fan of that era, and would have loved to have seen a little bit of something, whether it was a character, but it comes down to availability and also story. You have to get a story around it. You can't just throw them in there. But as a 60th anniversary, I know it was never announced. There was never any promise. There was some leaks and stuff. But I did, at the end of it, I never went into an episode thinking it's going to be cameos, and that ruined the review of the episode. But after 3 of them, I went, I didn't really get the nostalgia vibes of it. I thought it was still good Doctor Who, but I was like, I don't know if I
don't think every anniversary has to be a multi-Doctor story and everything like that. I think fans have a preconception that's what it needs to be, but I think it needs to have there needs to be some sort of mission to it, and it just seemed to be a bit jumbled for me.
Yeah, I just think as well that like Wobbly Thunder is a weird middle ground within it. Like I said, the episodes 1 and 3 sort of link together. While Blue Yonder feels like a DVD extra. It's like, this is what the Doctor Who got up to in that 2 days. And it's like, all right, cool. Yeah, I don't know. I can't wait to watch them back, all 3 of them back to back until it works. And that'll be next week. So Elijah and Beef will be back next week along with John, Connor, and
there will be carnage.
It will get spicy. It will get spicy. And then after that, we'll be back on Christmas Day, and they're back again. Triple Elijah and B. We're all here. But they're you know, so
a tri-generation, shall we say?
A tri-generation. And then who knows what's happening for the Christmas Day episode? I haven't worked it out yet. It all comes down to schedule when I'm free and how drunk I am by the time the episode comes out, and if I can actually be asked to film something.
I'll be going the way of Subalon Glitz by tripping over a whiskey bar.
Hell yeah.
I did like that little reference. I like the way she was like, it's the best way for him to go. I thought that was a nice little...
I do wonder how many people thought of me at that point.
I can't lie. There was a bit in the back of my mind that went, because it was whiskey, I went...
It's a way to go.
I knew something like that, but of course, you can check both of these guys out on Twitter. For Elijah, it's eCrailing. Is it eCrailing 1 or is it eCrailing? I know you changed it at one point.
Crailing on Instagram and eCrailing 1 on Twitter, because Twitter is...
What about your OnlyFans?
You can find me at AlexKingdom_69 at onlyfans.com.
And Beef, where can we find you?
Well, I'm at the Beefhead on X. I'm also at the Beefhead on Blue Sky for anyone who uses that. And you'll probably find me on Instagram somehow or other.
Your Instagram story is the best thing ever because it's just memes. I always click them.
I'm basic. I'm basic.
You know if Beef sends a meme, you know it's a good one. By the way, you can find me on Twitter at AlexK_Dom. You can follow the podcast at Talents Pod. Or you can check out TikTok. I've done a couple of those. Speaking of TikTok, I got a comment on TikTok that made me feel really old because I had no idea what the fuck it meant. And apparently it's youth speak because somebody said based. I was like, what the fuck does based mean?
We'll explain it to you afterwards, Sonny.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is this? Just the term. I was like, is this something users are using now? That that's when I begin to feel old, when I'm not in on the lingo.
Alex King, do you have Riz?
You don't have Riz.
I have zero Riz. I have zero Riz. I have lack of Riz. Also, as well, we didn't mention it, but shout out to the TARDIS bin, wheelchair accessible. Yeah, that's a bonus. I love that it's got the exact same kind of pull wrap you do on a bus. Just Tennant goes, oh. It's kind of considering it. Tennant didn't go. Oh, I wish my TARDIS had the same thing. But for a second, I thought, shoot, he was actually going to go in the other one and leave with the non-accessible one because he jumps back. And me and Chris at the time were laughing, going, is he going to take the unaccessible TARDIS? That's what we thought he was going to do. Like, Russell made this point of making the TARDIS accessible just to pull the lever.
I also Side point, I also love how Shooty was just gonna leave without saying bye because it's totally the Doctor.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
very
totally-
Doctor thing
If
to
I'm
do.
out of here, bye.
I don't do goodbyes. Yeah.
Also, another fun comment is that in this, they kind of like spread the clothing between the two characters, and Shooty's wearing boxer shorts. So that means the Doctor is fully commando for the last third.
Well, think about it this way: there might be a point at which their peepees touched when they came apart.
Ooh, but it's that
That's
time, and
assuming
also,
they have genitalia.
well, Moffat almost put something there too, didn't he? He almost did that. That's a well-known Moffat fact. He almost made a line to suggest that the Doctor has two of whatever genitalia. Also, as well, the Master was in a tooth or something and got picked up at the end. Wet. Who cares?
Been there, seen that, done it.
Sorry, that was the only thing. That was the only thing where I went, how where does she come from? Like, that's the end of the helipad. Like, where does she come from?
We shall see celestial beings and everything.
Was it Inspector Gadget who just she got the Inspector Gadget?
We'll see. We'll
Twirled
see.
around. But anyway, we'll see you guys all next week. Yeah, like Beef said, it'll be carnage. If it, I'm
Friendships will be torn asunder.
Yes, and then we'll be all friends again for Christmas, and we'll just get a bit drunk and have a good time. That's how it's going to work. That's basically the way it's going to go.
None of this is serious.
It's
None
all
of
a
it is
TV
serious.
show.
It's all a fake. It's all a lie. Elijah, any final words? I'm going to let you say the last words of this week's podcast. I'm leaving it down to you to do this week's outro. You've got this.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Timeless Podcast on YouTube. Leave a like and a comment. That's all I gotta
What do you want
say.
them to comment? What do you want them to comment, Elijah?
Comment some internet slang that Alex won't understand.
There we go. Comment some random internet slang that I don't understand. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.